Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about the Elizabethan theatre. In the earlier Elizabethan age, we find that it was a period of strolling players. That is, the drama troupe will move from one place to another, and these strolling players performed anywhere in taverns, yards, palaces, or gentlemen's houses. And the most important among them were the admiral's men and the chamberlain's men. And both these companies were patronized by Queen Elizabeth. When James first succeeded Elizabeth, he took Chamberlain's men under his protection, and thereafter this company was called as the King's Men, and it was to this company that Shakespeare belonged. And the first permanent theatre was built in 1576 by James Burbage, who was father of one of the colleagues of Shakespeare at Shoreditch to the north of London. And he named that as theatre because at that time there were no other theatres. Soon other theatres were also built, and the famous among them were the Rose, which was built in 1587, Globe in 1599, and Fortune in 1600. And these theatres were different in shape. The Swan was octagonal and the Fortune was square. And part of the theatre, that is the yard in front of the stage, was open to the sky, whereas the backstage as well as the galleries surrounding the yard were roofed. Throughout the Elizabethan period, the theatre was half open to the sky and the plays were acted during daytime. In 1608, James Burbage bought this refectory of old Blackfriars Monastery and converted it into an indoor playhouse. Here, plays were acted by candlelight and therefore more stage effects were possible now. And the main drawback of stage arrangement in the Elizabethan theatre was that there was no proper stage appliances to produce the effect of change in time and place, and therefore placards were sometimes used to announce the location of the action. Shakespeare considered such devices as very unrealistic and therefore tried to convey the effects of time, place, and action through the dialogues between the characters. And there was also no drops curtains in the Elizabethan theatre. The end of the scene was often indicated by a rhyming couplet. There were no female performers. It was only in the Restoration period that female actresses came on stage. And during Elizabethan age, women's parts were played by young boys who were trained from childhood for this purpose. The audience of the Elizabethan age were drawn from all sections of society, and they differed in taste, education, and wealth. And most of them were highly superstitious, believing in ghosts and witches and witchcraft, and were fond of witnessing scenes of violence like brutal fights and bear batting. Those who could pay well were seated in the galleries from where they could have a better view of the performances. There were also boxes for the well-to-do. However, some of the most privileged persons sat on stools on the stage, and this enabled them to pass remarks on the acting of the players. The groundlings, the most unruly and noisy section of the spectators, who paid just a penny, stood on the floor around the uncovered part of the stage which jutted into the yard. The church is said to be the cradle of English drama. In the beginning, the dumb shows were performed inside the church or the church premises by the clergymen. They were followed by the miracle plays and morality plays were enacted with the purpose of imparting both instruction and entertainment. After the Renaissance, there was a revival of learning and the demand was for the new type of classically influenced non-religious drama. At first, these plays were written observing the three unities of time, place, and action. The first English dramatist of some originality was Robert Greene, who is one of the university wits. The famous Spanish tragedy written by Thomas Kyd is considered to be the first tragedy in English. However, Christopher Marlowe, the author of Tamburlaine, The Jew of Malta, Dr. Faustus, and Edward II, is said to be the father of English tragedy. William Shakespeare's drama career extended to about 20 years from 1590 to 1610. Starting as an errand boy and actor of minor parts, he slowly rose to prominence and dominated the stage for years. At the end of his career, Shakespeare returned to his native place, Stourport-on-Avon. Shakespeare wrote altogether 37 plays. They are classified as comedies, tragedies, histories, and romances. And the major part of the Elizabethan play is in verse and not in prose. If you have any more information to add on, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.